Hello and welcome. You're watching All About the W, your weekly deep dive into the WSS, star stories and star performances. Let's break it all down. My name is Ash, and as always, I'm joined by my co host Kai. Today, we are talking about three very big things. The first is the ouster sacking, letting go of Paul Green, who was the head of women's football at Chelsea. The second thing is the much talked about game between Arsenal and Manchester City. And the third is the Chelsea versus Spurs game that was a little bit of a damp ho hum sort of game at the end of the day. Um, so I feel like Kai, we should just get right into it. Oh no, before that, remember to like, subscribe, do all those wonderful things. I keep forgetting to mention it, but like it really helps us in the algo. So we would really appreciate if you could do that and comment below as well if you have anything to say. Kai, Paul Green.
I feel like Chelsea fans will have a lot to say under this video because, yeah, Paul Green, go on.
Yeah, how do you feel about this sacking, ouster, stepping down? I don't know how you view it. He worked there for so long along with Emma Hayes, and you all have been very successful in the last decade or so uh together, and he was part of that success. How have you been reacting to this?
Yeah, so like you said, Paul Green sort of initially came to Chelsea. He was managing alongside Emma, like he was the assistant coach. And then he sort of stepped into a more managerial sort of a role. And, obviously Chelsea won. He's been there since 2013, and Chelsea won like 19 trophies since then,
Yeah,
out of which like eight are like WSL titles. I think six
yeah.
FA Cups as well. So, and we also have a Community Shield, which nobody else has. But and a Spring Series that nobody else has. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, he's just been such a constant, and I think with Emma Hayes, they were like an absolute force, right? They built the women's side of the club from ground up, fought for a lot of investment, etc. And like one of the things that I like, sort of really sticks out in Paul Green's time at Chelsea is basically Emma had to get like a hysterectomy, and so like you had Denise Reddy, who was her assistant coach at the time, who was doing the on-field by the touchline sort of stuff, and then Paul Green was doing the media things, and yeah, I mean all of this, like somebody who's just been very hands-on, and obviously Chelsea owes like a lot of its success to Paul Green, and the players also have said as much. They've said, a bunch of players have posted on social media saying how much he's influenced their careers, etc. So, yeah, I mean, it's a real shame. But what I will say is, I personally expected this transition to happen sooner. Um, I thought like maybe it'll happen immediately, like along with Emma Hayes in that summer, but it didn't. And then I thought it would happen the previous summer, and it didn't happen then either. So I thought, okay, maybe we're sticking with this. We're sticking with Paul Green, and there is going to be some sort of a continuity in terms of like the institutional knowledge, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, the funny thing is the timing of this makes the optics so much worse because there's been so much chatter about Chelsea. There's just been so much speculation and hit pieces, so to like about Chelsea from like different, like you've seen stuff from the Guardian, the Athletic, everything. So um, obviously Sonia Bompasto's contract also gets extended. There is dressing rooms tension supposedly. So all of this combined, it's just not a good look at all. Um, but for me, I think like the most important thing is that like there are a lot of players who are out of contract in the summer. So the most important ones, or I mean, yeah, big names being Sam Kerr, Aggie Beaver Jones, Hannah Hampton, Millie Bright with like a trigger option is there for a year. Guro Wrighton is also out of contract. And then we already know that Macario has said she's not going to be renewing. So, sorry, yeah, renewing her contract. And like, she's not been named in the Champions League squad. So I expect her to sort of not uh, I expect her to go before the NWSL window closes. So yeah, that's where we are at right now. Um, but I think the most concerning, so everything that's happened so far, I've been fairly calm through it. I'm like, okay, we'll see where this goes. But this has sort of sent my brain into a bit of panic. And the Guardian article that spoke about Paul Green leaving Chelsea also said, and I'm quoting this: the Guardian understand that Green's influence and role in decision making has been increasingly impeded at Chelsea, with sporting directors Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstonley taking more of an active role around the women's team. So this this is a big cause for concern for me. Um, I think, um, yeah, it's. I think with Paul Green leaving, right, I think we can just say the women's team are well and truly in a transition. Whatever happened last season, just think of it as a bonus. Think of it as, okay, something happened, like there was good luck or whatever it is. It just happened and we got away with a lot of things. And it was an important season. Like, when you look back on Chelsea's history, maybe like 10, 20 years from now, obviously having like an unbeaten domestic treble is definitely going to be a positive. But I think this is a good sort of a reality check that you have. And I think, yeah, what we'll see is a few older players moving on. You'll have new players coming in, and hopefully, like, I don't know what the sporting directors have said to Sonia to convince her to extend till like 2030, but whatever it is, I hope she has a role in shaping what the incoming players look like in terms of how she wants to play. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Ash.
mean, I agree with the whole, because like she had that press conference where she hinted that she wasn't happy with the transfers, etc. Of course, that's no excuse. You are playing with some of the best players in the world, but at least, like, Chelsea should not give Sonia, if whether she succeeds or fails, it should be on the merit of what she puts out on the pitch, and not because the club structure did not allow her the players she wanted, or any like those sort of excuses. Because it's very easy to make that excuse uh when to be fair, you are getting players in who are worth millions.
Yeah.
So like I just feel like, do not give. I personally am not so confident of Sonia's success at Chelsea, but I mean it remains to be seen. But uh, that the it should not be because the club didn't back her, that the sporting directors didn't back her.
Yeah, I think, like, I genuinely feel like it's too soon to tell what the future looks like. In an ideal world, they'll find somebody who's competent with like a good understanding of the women's game to replace Paul. But at the same time, I understand the fan uproar and the pessimism around this because, if history is anything to go by, this is not going to be a positive path. Because, like, we've seen it on the men's side of things. We've seen how the sporting directors on a good day are like not at the level they need to be, and those shortcomings are just going to be compounded on the women's side because the knowledge is simply not there. I was thinking today about what Koto Criminal asked about Alexis Ohanian, uh, like coming in, and whether that signaled like mediocrity creeping in, because that's like the mentality at Angel City. And in my head, I was sort of thinking, have you seen our club? Like, if there was any seriousness about winning things, they'll not be like obsessively buying 20-year-olds and putting them across the pitch, like with not so experienced managers. Like I understand the temptation to be like, oh, we want to build this with a young manager, build this project with a young manager, but at the same time, like, there is not enough understanding of the psychological side of things, because managing a club like Chelsea is going to be really hard. There's a lot of scrutiny, there's a lot of expectation to win from the ownership, but also from the fans. It's not easy. And um like, the problem is, maybe they think that they want to win, but this project is probably not what is going to get them there. So if that is anything to go by, I think there'll be a lot of interference from the sporting directors. um
Yeah. Yeah. And
Honestly.
to be fair, I also like I want to give Chelsea some leeway here, in the sense that of course the Emma legacy exists, and it was wonderful, and what she did, like, not taking away at all from her achievements. But the WSL now looks different, in the sense that a lot of other teams have put a lot of money into it, a lot of other teams are growing, and it's like there was always like Arsenal, for example. But like, there are these other teams now that are competing. United was not a team that you were thinking of as competing.
Yeah.
City, of course, existed, but like, uh it was always sort of seen as, oh, City have a weak underbelly or whatever. And that's supposedly changing.
Mhm.
And even apart from the top four, there are teams that are starting to do much better and are investing. We saw the stellar transfer seasons that some of these other like teams have had, irrespective of performances on the pitch, like Brighton, Everton,
Yeah.
Spurs as well. So like, they're all slowly growing, which means that on the day any of these teams can beat a top team, like
Mhm.
Everton beat Chelsea, or like, Arsenal drew with Spurs. And like, it's no longer a league where, I'm not saying that Chelsea was walking away with it in the other years or anything, but it's no longer a league where there are easy games where you can get through it.
Yeah.
All the way down to Leicester, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think, I mean, it's good for the women's game that the investment is coming in. And it's interesting because, like you said, Manchester City previously, you felt like there was a weak underbelly, and now they're stepping up their game. United, I mean, I personally don't know much about what United structure looks like. I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's enough transparency. So I won't comment on it much. But again, Arsenal as well, they've brought in Jodie Taylor to sort of like act as sort of like a bridge between Claire Wheatley as well as Ryan Slager. So clubs are doing things, and I think fans kind of need to brace themselves right now, because I do think there is going to be, I mean, this is going to look like a team that is rebuilding. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to take it. Hopefully, there is like light at the end of the tunnel, but I can imagine why the fans don't feel that way. Like, I personally, like, my prediction on this front is that, like, there will be a lot of interference. And for the kind of personalities Sonia Bompastor is, like, this relationship is going to fall apart very soon. I don't think, like, we've seen on the men's side, every time like the hierarchy is sort of challenged in any way, immediately the coach is sacked. So, like, that's what you've been seeing for like 3 years, 4 years now. Anytime somebody voices unhappiness or anything of that sort out in public, and it's just like off with their head sort of a vibe that you get. So I like, I think, like, I personally don't think Sonia is going to see out her initial contract, let alone this new one. And like, I say this, even if we win, even if we have a relatively successful season, like, say we reach the Champions League final or win the Champions League and get some silverware, whatever it is, I don't think this relationship is gonna last very long. But just want to wrap up, Ash. I feel like we've been going on for a while. But yeah, the only thing I want to say is like all the best to Paul Green, because it's been like heartwarming to see all the players post on social media and how much he's influenced their careers and their life at Chelsea. And like, it's really nice to see Paul Green just, in the post match, walking with the players, talking to like the coaching staff, interacting with fan, acknowledging them, all of that. And he's always like extremely well dressed. So that is also really nice. It's like, you'll have a bunch of people moving around and there'll be one man in a suit along with them. Yeah, somebody who was like, I would say like heart and soul of the club uh, for quite some time now. So it is very disappointing, but whoever gets him next will be super lucky, if he's going to pursue a similar sort of a role. Keep
Yeah.
an eye out for that
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. All the best to you, Paul Green. I hope that you land somewhere amazing. Spurs is there in case you want to go somewhere and build again. Anyway, Arsenal versus City ended 1-0. Olivia Smith scored in the 17th minute, and that's all she wrote. Um, it was an interesting game. I'll say the first half I think was much more interesting than the second.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, some ups and downs, but overall, I think you would say the better team won.
I think so. I think Rene Slegers, maybe, not having Black Stenius in this game was like a blessing in disguise, because I thought the setup with Olivia Smith up top worked really well. It caused City all sorts of problems. I felt like they were, every time they were trying to go forward, they had a Smith counter attack at the back of their head, and you could see, like, I also felt like City were a bit off the pace in this game. They were just second to everything, and they were not like Arsenal's mid block that they sort of set in, and also like they sort of oscillated between like a mid block and like pressing high, and what either of those things City were not allowed to build up from the back,
Yeah.
which is what they like to do. So yeah, I thought Slegers got it spot on tactically, and City had like an XG of like 0.39 or something.
Yeah, it was a very rare, like, I think what happened is that they managed to neutralize Karen and Bunny Shaw.
Yeah.
That I think played a huge role because I do feel like they were both being marked out of the game a little
Hmm.
bit, and Carolyn's runs were not being allowed to happen. I
Yeah.
thought Arsenal. I was really impressed by the fact that Arsenal had more possession than City as well, because they kept winning the ball and then just
Hmm.
keeping it. And City were not able to keep the ball for more than two passes. It was really like, I think it was a rare like L for their midfield, the City midfield.
Mm.
Because I really thought the City midfield was it did not like Blinkilde Brown was absolutely absent for the first half.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I think Jurglertz made the change in the second half, and to some extent I don't know if it really worked. Even like Miedema and Yui, I don't think nothing clicked. I think they were just like struggling under Arsenal's press the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a very rare low energy performance from City.
Yeah, you know what? I thought like Arsenal also played a good physical game, because we
Yeah,
talk about the Arsenal midfield as some like technically very good, right? But I
yeah,
also felt like Arsenal like uh were aggressive in the
yeah,
midfield.
yeah,
They were
yeah.
constantly
It
trying
sort of
to.
reminded me of the Barcelona game, the Champions League final in a
Yeah,
way.
exactly. And I think that made the difference. And of course, like once coffee comes on, like City looks slightly better in the second half. But then again, you look at the XG. I honestly did not feel like City were going to ever score ever.
Yeah,
uh
yeah,
yes, coffee coming on helped a little bit, but uh yeah, not too much. I don't think it made a massive difference. And also you could see like Arsenal were quite comfortable sitting back a little bit, let City have the ball.
yeah,
And obviously they couldn't do much with it. Bunny Shaw,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I thought Catley, I mean, I've seen a lot of Moy have like really good games against Shaw. That's
Yeah.
always like a
Mm.
fun battle to look out for. But I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, yeah.
Steph Catley was really impressive in this game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She dealt with Moy really well. Even like McCabe or even Catley, either of them, whoever was like sort of looking after Carolyn, so to speak, they always stayed quite tight to her, did not let her turn. These are things, like, these are basics, but they executed it to perfection.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, overall, really good game. I felt like out in like wide areas, maybe Hemp had like a little bit of joy, but couldn't make
Yeah.
anything happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very strong performance from Arsenal.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And uh, I'm wondering if, like City obviously have this huge point gap from Chelsea. They're not playing Champions League, so they don't really have that much to play for. Like there are the
There
cup,
is a cup.
uh,
Yeah.
cup. That's what I said, cup.
Yeah.
There is one cup to play for, but like that's about it. Do you think that like little bit motivation issue as well, because like they put all their heart and soul into that Chelsea game, and now that they've like practically won the league, it's just like it's really hard to get up and then do it again for against Arsenal.
I mean, honestly, if that is the attitude, then that's a big red flag because you haven't won the league in eons.
Yeah,
You're not playing anything else. Like this was an opportunity for City to like stay undefeated. I mean,
yeah,
of course, they lost at first. Like, keep that winning streak alive,
yeah,
and make a point. Beating Arsenal at the Emirates is something you should aspire to do. So
yeah,
I feel like, yeah, I don't think that was the issue. I just felt
yeah.
like Arsenal got their game plan spot on, and I don't think City could
Yeah,
respond
I
to it.
mean, to be fair, like, yeah, City didn't respond, but I also like the ref really
Oh my
freaking
god, the
annoyed me in
ref.
this game. Let us name and shame over here. Abigail Byrne,
Abigail Byrne, yeah,
man.
yeah.
Oh my God, like that, the fact that there wasn't even a foul on that hemp like the hemp foul, it wasn't even called a foul. Like I don't even, like, card is like a really far away reality. There wasn't even a foul, and I thought
Yeah,
that was just criminal. And like Arsenal really got away with one there, but like overall Arsenal just played better, so it
yeah.
doesn't even really matter. But
But can
since
I
it was
just
a 1
say,
nil,
yeah, it was a 1-0. And can I just say, like, the player who fouled Hemp was Mariona. Now, if that was
yeah.
a dog, so, right? If that was a red card, a straight red,
Yeah,
she's probably not going to
yeah,
play, what, 2, 3 games?
yeah,
And that would have been a massive, massive blow for Arsenal. So, like,
yeah,
it's not just about this 1-0 win. It's also
yeah,
about, and listen, it would have been a tight call. Uh,
yeah,
like, obviously, Mariona was the last defender, but uh,
yeah,
like I think Bubenmoy and Catley were just behind her. So, like in a screenshot, you can clearly
yeah,
see where Mariona is. But it was a
yeah,
really silly challenge as well from Mariona.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, she's not really known for her like stellar defensive work.
yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe
But
slight tackling is not her.
yeah, she did. I think it's also sometimes player bias. Like if Katie McCabe had done the same thing,
Oh,
they may
straight
have been a
red,
card. Would
straight
have been a
red.
straight red. I think you look at Mariona and think, oh, this player can't bring anybody down, and just like let it go, a little
Yeah,
bit.
she's perfect. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Arsenal definitely got away with one there. But
yeah,
for this particular match, I don't think it would have made a massive difference.
yeah,
Because it's honestly harder to play against 10 players. Like Arsenal would have just sat
yeah, yeah,
deep,
yeah,
and then it would have
yeah,
been worse to watch. So maybe it's a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Okay, Kai, unless you have anything else to add, Spurs versus Chelsea ended 0-2 to Chelsea. Walt scored in the 40th minute, Thompson scored in the 50th minute. I honestly don't have much to say about this game. You can talk about how you have recovered from the five goal loss.
Yeah, I mean, it was an important win. I'll also keep this very short because honestly, I was feeling good about the fact that we won, and then the Paul Green. It's like I can't catch a break.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
catch a
yeah, yeah.
break. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was an important win from like a top three perspective, but also from like a mentality perspective, because
Yeah,
you could see how the body language of the team changed after the first goal
yeah,
went in.
yeah,
So clearly there was a confidence issue, and then in the post match,
yeah,
like Cuthbert came out. I feel like because Chelsea wins so much, like the players are also
yeah,
super dramatic. Cuthbert came
yeah,
and she was
yeah,
like, "Oh, I've not been able to sleep. It's
yeah.
affected my sleep, and like we are doing so well in training. It's just not like showing on the pitch during the
Yeah,
games." And she was all like, she's saying stuff like that. But anyway, bad first half from Chelsea, decent second half from Chelsea.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think a very good first half from Spurs, I would say.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's all. Like for me, I'm somewhat proud of Spurs, even though we lost. I'll tell you, like, I was angry during the game. Like, I was a little bit frustrated
I
during the game
remember.
because the second half was quite abysmal.
Mm,
But, like, for me, in when I in the context of the previous Chelsea game, we had no depth. We still didn't have Drew Spence in both games, but like we had no depth and we were playing scared. Like we were not confident enough to play our game the way we play it with the high line and everything. In
yeah,
this game, we were like, we don't care if it's Chelsea, we don't care our opposition is. We will play the way we train to play,
yeah, yeah,
And I think that
absolutely.
that shows a little bit of courage, especially when you're playing with people like Thompson, against people like Thompson, where you're like, oh, like the counter is a real, like legit threat, and we did get countered uh, a bunch of times. So I'm really like proud of the fact that Spurs, like, we were never going to have possession and we were always somewhat going to be on the counter. But in the first half, I thought we kept the ball and we like built from the back and
Hmm.
we tried to score that Olivia hold free kick. From what not free kick, sorry, kick that hit the post.
Yeah,
We built from the back, we played it out, and then Olivia Holt almost put it in the net,
yeah,
and just like, yes, we didn't score, but at least, when you see the movement is there, when you see the tactics are in place to score against a team like Chelsea multiple times, looking likely to score, it makes you feel like, and matching their XG, it makes you feel like the ingredients are all there. So
yeah.
I know that Spurs fans will be like, oh, we only beat West Ham, like we haven't like really beaten any big teams or done
Mm,
anything great yet. But I feel like Spurs fans cannot lose faith because we didn't score or we can't score or whatever. Because even
yeah,
against West Ham, we had trouble scoring. Because the movement is there and the tactics are working. Yes, we can't defend yet, but even that is slowly improving.
yeah.
So I do feel like, keep faith in this manager and let him cook. Like it's clearly you can see the improvement.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Holt is a superstar. Koga is a superstar. It's going to be super exciting to watch. I mean, hopefully Spurs can hold on to these players. I think we discussed
Yeah,
this in the chat. I think Twalumba mentioned that United are very keen on getting Olivia Holt. I think
yeah,
like the job in the summer for Spurs is to hold on to players like Holt, so
yeah, yeah,
that like for another year, maybe even 2 years, uh,
yeah,
and get the best out of her, because she's 24 now, I think, and she's
yeah,
just like entering her prime. So you should at least keep her for 2 years, and like you
yeah,
don't want this to be another sort of a Grace Clinton situation. This
yeah,
is, I
yeah,
mean, I can fully see the improvement as well as the vision. The
yeah,
Martin Ho project looks extremely promising.
yeah,
Yeah, I think Chelsea, obviously Millie Bright got injured during the game. She was limping
yeah,
apparently after the full time whistle, and well, the list of injuries is just super long at this point. There are like nine
yeah,
players out of which like seven are like first team starters. So,
yeah,
big concern for Chelsea from like an
yeah.
injury standpoint.
Yeah, also the Champions League standpoint, considering that will we keep an eye out for our preview episode of the Champions League knockouts.
Playoffs,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
I think Champions League, yeah, Champions League only in mid March, so towards the end of
yeah,
March, the quarterfinals. So we have a little bit of time. Hopefully, a few players come back by then. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not a whole lot to be happy about at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I feel like unless you have anything else to add, Kai, that brings us to the end of this show. Comment below how you feel about the Paul Green sacking, or if you have any comments about Chelsea's form or United, sorry, City, Arsenal, even Spurs. I mean, heck, I'll take one random stray Spurs comment once in a while. So we will see you next in our coverage of the other games that will come out tomorrow. See you then. Bye.